Good morning, everybody. You can see in the WhatsApp group, I have sent this problem here. See, this is I section. As you can see, in this case, you are going to face a slight difficulty in moment of inertia, Ix or Iz. As I told you, Ix and Iz are same, but better to take Z axis. Whatever X axis was there previously, it is taken as Z. Here it should be Z only. But see, what I have done is determine the shape factor for an unsymmetrical I section. So I will just give you the hints and I'll go to the next example here. You try to solve this example. This is an assignment problem. Here I'll explain how to get moment of inertia if you're having some difficulties over there. Because in this case, you can see here, as you can see, it is unsymmetrical about a horizontal line. About vertical line, it is symmetrical. It will produce two mirror images. If you cut the section along the vertical line, along Y line, okay, you can get two mirror images. Identical parts will get, but the section is unsymmetrical about a horizontal line. So here, if this is the case, you can see that in such cases, as you have seen yesterday, T section, your equal area axis and centroid will not coincide even in this case. In case of if at all it was symmetrical I section, symmetrical about both the axes. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. Some problem is there today in connection with the internet. So here, if the T section is symmetrical about both the axes, top and bottom flange are of same size, let us say. In that case, equal area axis and centroidal axis will coincide. When this is possible, if top flange and bottom flange are of same dimension. So I have not considered that one. That becomes a more easy problem actually. So this is usually the size of bottom and top flanges will not be same. So in such a case, how to solve the problem? How to get shape factor? As you can see, shape factor is nothing but ZP by ZE. Depending upon your convenience, you can start ZE or ZP calculation. Anyone you can start. But if you want to start ZP, first locate the equal area axis. You need to locate the equal area axis. So this is an assignment problem. Try to solve it. But observe this, what he has done here is, as you can see, if you want to find out ZE, again it is the same procedure as you know it. If it is if you want to find out ZE, okay, it is Iz or Ix as it is I divided by, you can see, Y max. What about ZP? How do you find ZP here? The formula is, what is the formula for ZP? A1 Y1 plus A2 Y2 like that. In the tension and compression zones, where Y1 is to be clearly understood. Y1 is distance between equal area axis and the centroid of that rectangle. So Y1 usually, that's why I was initially I was calling YC and YT. I was calling them as YC, YT, YC1, YC2, YT1, YT2 like that. Because when you look at this ZE, Y1, Y2 definition is different. When you look at ZP, these Y values are related to equal area axis. In case of ZE, when you find out the moment of inertia or centroid, here, when you find out the centroid, You have to refer the centroidal axis for that y1, y2 and all. Anyway, you'll see that one here. You can see this. So what has happened here is, since it is a assignment problem, you have to observe carefully. Don't depend on anybody. Just observe this problem here. The top dimensions are 250 by 50. Bottom is 400 by 50. Middle one is 100 by 50. Thickness is same. Okay, thickness of all the flange and web are same. Okay, so here now you have to find out the value of y bar. Locate the centroid, whether you start from the bottom as the reference line or top as the reference line. Based on that, your y1, y2 value will be there. In this problem, he has considered reference axis as bottom line. Let us see a1, y1, a2, y2, all these things. After calculation of this, it is 127.94 mm. Okay. Now here he has used ix, he says, but we'll call it as iz. But he has used parallel axis theorem. Whenever you see ig plus ah square, it is a parallel axis theorem. So you do not use this one. This is an assignment problem. Don't try to calculate in this way. I have given you answer, that's all. For reference, I have given you the answer. Only for your reference. What is the value of iz you will get, that is given here. But don't try to follow this method. I'll tell you that one in brief. Just observe this here. He has used this. What he has done here is, okay, this entire term is all about moment of inertia. If you are good in moment of inertia calculation, you follow that only. If you are not good, I will give you the shortcut method, you follow that. It is left to you. If you think that I'm already okay in calculation of moment of inertia, you have been doing this one since first year. If you think like that, I can do it somehow, you follow your own method. Otherwise, you follow the method, shortcut method, which I will be telling you. In case of T section also, I have told you. Here also, I will explain that one. Remaining is, you can do it, remaining. Because rest all is not difficult. Locate the equal area axis and find out ZP. All entire answer I will give you, but the method you should follow is my method. You should follow whatever I am telling. If you think that you can understand this lengthy procedure of finding moment of inertia, you can go ahead with that. 5.3 nearly it is 5.3 into 10 raised to 8 mm raised to 4. Whichever method you use, you should get this value. Any method use, remember that you should be very close to this number. So that's why I'm telling you a lot of options are there here. Now I'll just explain how do you get. Now here, this figure refers to a Z E value calculation, whereas in the answer, if you see, this diagram refers to equal area axis. When you look at this diagram, stress diagram here, look at the stress diagram, you should be able to tell what he's trying to tell. If two rectangles, if you can see here, once you see that there are two rectangles in stress diagram, it is something related to equal area axis. So this is plastic neutral axis or equal area axis is here now. 75 and 225. Okay. Is it clear this one? So I want you to try, that's all. I want you to try. I'll give the solution also, but try this one since it is an assignment problem. Now going back to, because I know that you are not going to find difficulties while any other calculation except moment of inertia. You want to know this shortcut method, how it works. Again and again, I'm telling you, if you are okay with this parallel axis theorem formula here, if you are already familiar, you can still use this expression. There is no harm. What is the method? I'll tell you. What is the method of finding the, by shortcut method? What I'm going to do, you see here. Now I want to see whether the reference x is whether 127.94. You can see this one here. Now I'll ask you one simple question here. Whether observe this one. Whether my question will be whether this is. I'll show here whether this is in this problem. You should tell me whether this is 127.9 or from top it is, whether it is from top to x dash line, x line. Which one I should use? Are you getting my point? You should tell me how to tell that one. So my question is from the top side. Just observe this. You should answer this one here, whether from this it is, so that I can tell you the shortcut method, which I feel it is a little bit more easier than whatever the author has used to find out moment of inertia Iz value. Here I'm going to use Z only. Remember, this is a steel structure subject, not strength of material. Wherever Ix is there, I'm going to write it as Iz. Now, my question was this one, whether this is Y bar, that is 127.94, or this one you have to tell. A3, you look at A3, 400 into 50 into 25. So how to understand this one is you look at, I just because the figure is like this, so I'm looking at these numbers. 400 into 50 into 25. So this is A3, 400 into 50 into, this is the reference line. So this is the center of this rectangle. So this distance is given as 25. It means this is the reference line. Again, if you check this middle one, again it is 50 plus 50, it is actually centroid. 200 into 50. Okay. Now what I mean here is this 127.94 refers to this distance, not this one, not this one. So like this, you can find out this y bar first. See, once you find y bar, you can see this one here. Whether you are okay with the calculation of, are you okay with moment of inertia, or you want me to explain the shortcut method? You have to tell me, because if you are already familiar, if you know how to find the moment of inertia of this T section, I mean I section, I don't have to repeat that one again here. You want me to explain the shortcut method here? 127.94. I'll use this without checking this answer. I'll use 127.94 and I'll try to explain that one. Shortcut method I'll tell you now. Without using parallel axis theorem. He has used parallel axis theorem. Whenever you look at AH square, how do you say parallel axis theorem is used? You can see this one here. Whenever you come across this term, Ig, this is Ig. First term is Ig plus AH square. A into H square. Area into H square. So this entire thing which inside the bracket is H. So this type of calculations, if you find it is parallel axis theorem is used in this. I will tell you without using parallel axis theorem how it can be solved in a quick method is there. So 127.94. Okay. I'm doing it carefully observe. If you already know how to solve it, how to get the moment of inertia, I can go to the next problem actually. Otherwise, I have to explain the moment of inertia calculation. You have to tell. So let us try to understand the shortcut method which we used in case of T section also. So first draw this figure. Just try to follow this. It is a first assignment example I have given. I'm trying to give some idea here how to solve it. I'm going to explain the shortcut method used for finding the moment of inertia. I'll just show this centroid position here. Centroid position is, you can see this. How much is this distance? It is 127.94. I think you can see this one, no? 127.94. I'm going to write this one here. Just observe this. This is 127.94. Okay. Now I will explain how to find moment of inertia by shortcut method. So what I will do is once this y bar is calculated here. So y bar you should calculate as I told you a1 y1 plus a2 y2 and all that. Either you choose the top as the reference line or bottom as a reference line. If you choose top as a reference line, y1 will be this. From top line to a centroid of top rectangle. Y2 will be this. Y3 will be this. If you start reference from the bottom, it will be, it has to be measured from the bottom line only. So I will take this as the right number 127.94 mm. Let us see how to find moment of inertia about this line, about this dotted red line, which is z axis. What I will do, observe here. What I will do is I will just complete, I'll make two rectangles out of it. Simply I'll make two rectangles out of it. One is here. Two big rectangles I'll make out of it. One more is this one. So the problem becomes simple because whatever T section you have done no here, previous problem, this part, upper part is nothing but T section, bottom is also inverted T section. See this. Bottom is inverted T section. Both are T sections only. If you take this Z axis like this, then make it as a complete rectangle. Okay. So I'll give you some few more dimensions and further I'll go here how to get it. It means I'll write it, observe this. Now the moment of inertia about Z is, about this line is, I'll write it here, observe. Iz in the notes in that problem solved by the author, it is written as Ix. It is I1 plus I2. So your knowledge of moment of inertia is important in this. Otherwise, remaining calculations are simple actually. Are you able to find out this moment of inertia properly or not? You take care about this. Okay. So all of you type your USN. Now observe carefully here what I am doing. Iz is equal to I1 plus I2. What is I1? I1 is the portion above the axis, centroidal axis. I1 is related to moment of inertia of the portion above the centroidal axis. I2 is related to the portion below the centroidal axis. Both are T sections now. Top is a T section, bottom is inverted T section. Now how to find it out? You can give me this value now. You give me this value 197.94. This much is how much, because I want to finalize the top rectangle. Now that is top rectangle is, observe this. Top rectangle is, what is the top rectangle? You can see. Just observe this. This entire thing is top rectangle, which is b cube by 3. Now I'm just doing whatever I have done in T section. I1 is nothing but T section. If you know the previous example, you should be able to find I1 easily. How it is? You can see, let us call this as capital B1, this as capital D1, because I'll be using for bottom part capital B2 and capital D2. Same thing, whatever I have done in T section, you can find out I1 now. So can you give me this height? B1 is already there in the problem. Can you give me this height here? What is the height of the D1? I want a D1. So it is, I think it is, he has given it 172.06. 172.06. So you observe this one, this distance D1, you can see this is 250, D1 is 250. Are you following this one, all of you? Any questions are here? One 172.06. 172 point. So I think my handwriting has improved. My handwriting has improved yesterday. Yesterday somebody told me that you improve your handwriting. So one student. So you observe here, B1 D1 250 172.06. So this is the top portion, B1 D1 Q by 3. This into this Q by 3 minus you should remove this part. You should remove this portion. Same thing as I have done in the first example. So this is the shortcut and short method actually. Everywhere you will find divided by 3 only. There will not be divided by 12 if you use the shortcut method. There will not be parallel axis theorem. So like this, the way I have solved the T section problem, no, same way you can get it. You have to remove the moment of inertia of double hatched rectangles. This and this. This has been already done in the previous T section. Now coming to below line. Below line you see here, big triangle B2 D2. See, observe this one. 400 it is. So this is B2 capital B2, which is equal to 400. Okay. So D2 is nothing but 127.94. This is nothing but D2. Now again, you are trying to find out now I2 here. I2 refers to the portion below this Z line, below the centroidal axis. Okay. Now you can see this one here. Now observe. Same thing I will be doing again. Same thing is done. Again, consider this as a rectangle. One full rectangle here. Like this. B2 D2. So it is B2 D2 raised to 3 by 3 minus double hedged moment of inertia of double hedged portion. Subtract this moment of inertia. So first find the moment of inertia of B2 D2, which is B2 into D2 raised to 3 by 3 minus moment of inertia of these two portions, double hatched portions. So you're going to find I2 and I1, just simply add them. You're going to get IZ value. So in short, what I can say, whatever T section you have solved, if you know how to find the moment of inertia of a T section, you're just calculating it two times, I1 and I2. So in the previous example, only I1 was calculated because T section was like that. There was one small rectangle below the line that is there in the previous problem. Here one more T section is available for you below this centroidal x-axis. Any questions here? Any questions so that I can start the collapse load? How to calculate the collapse load? See, tomorrow I'll be engaging 2 hours class at 11:30. 2 hours means it will not go up to that. Maybe 1 hour, 10-15 minutes like that. See, any questions here? How to find I1 that IZ value? Anybody has got any questions? Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions are there? It is assignment. You solve it today. Keep it ready. But a few more I'll be giving in due course. For assignment one, few more theory questions I'll be giving you. This is one of them. Is this, you keep this answer ready? So you have to find out the value of shape factor, S value. This is the shortcut method. If you can follow this shortcut method, you can save time in the examination. If you are good in this calculation only, because as far as I feel, this is lengthy calculations are there. IXX, whatever he has calculated, so lengthy calculations are there here. If you can follow this, there is no problem here. You can follow this, you can use this method, or whatever I told you just now, use this method. In both the cases, the answer should be very close to 5.3 into 10 raised to 8 mm raised to 4. You should get that number. Let us see this. I want to see the answer of this. $1.397. I'll show you where it is. You can say 1.4. You can say 1.4. So this both the pages I will be giving you, but take and solve the way I am giving you the notes for T section. In that way, you solve this calculation of A1, Y1, A2, Y2 for ZP calculations, and equal area axis. Again, you see this equal area axis is 75. Again, I'll go back and I'll tell you this so that I can start a small problem in another 5 minutes. Okay, you can see this equal area axis. Bottom it is 75, top 225. So how do you find equal area axis? Also you can check it. So these problems will appear in the first test also. So just try this one. Any questions are there in this case, you can tell me. So on your own, you try to solve this problem. Practice problem it is. You may get some difficulties while doing it. Okay. So I'll move on to the see few more problems with solutions. I'll be giving you as notes. Few more examples of shape factor calculation. Triangle they can ask. I have already given you the shape factor of a diamond shape. Diamond shape is given. Now a triangle and one more shape. I'll for say circle. Shape factor of circle and triangle derivations. I will give you the notes. You can remind me anytime. So this is a collapse. Now let us come to the collapse load calculation. At what, how to find out the expression for collapse load in plastic analysis. This is the last part of plastic analysis. I'm going to start the new topic in the tomorrow's class, which is different sections and bolted connection, module 2. Module 1's notes I'll be giving you. Problems I have already done. Additional problems with solutions I'll be giving. You just have to solve those examples. Already solved, but you have to, as a practice, you solve them. So let us see this, how to find out the collapse load. So in plastic analysis, at what load the structure collapses is calculation is important. The prediction of load is very important for civil engineers. Whenever a structure is loaded, you should be able to tell corresponding to this load, the beam or a column will collapse. If you don't know the collapse load, it means you don't know the design only, because you are not giving them the idea of how much it can be loaded. If you load it beyond this particular value, it is going to collapse. You should be able to say that. That is why in plastic analysis, 2-3 methods are there. First, the one important one is I'm explaining here. It is called as kinematic method or virtual work method. So to find out the collapse load WC in plastic analysis, a simple formula is used. Already you know it actually. This formula, virtual work, external work done by the force must be equal to internal work done by plastic hinge, or energy absorbed by the plastic hinge. So external work done is equal to energy absorbed by the plastic hinge. Simply, I can still make it short. It is EWD is equal to IWD. EWD is equal to IWD. So external work done is equal to internal work done. Very simple formula is there to find out the collapse load WC. I'm going to start here. Only one problem I'll solve. Only one derivation I'll do it. Remember this expression, that's all. External work done by the forces. So when, how to find it out? External work, force into displacement. Work done is force into displacement. Energy is also one type of work done only. I'll come to that one. LHS, you can see external work done. It is nothing but force into displacement. Force is WC, displacement, whatever deflection takes place now here. Whatever deflection takes place, that is WC into delta. For example, LHS, that is external work done by the force. I'll show you, observe this. Basic concept I'm explaining, try to understand this. So I will draw one beam here, say. Okay. This is the beam. Now it is subjected to one point load at the center, which I'm calling it as WC, because this WC means it is collapse load, which I have to calculate. I have to find the expression for this. Now you coming back to this, I'm trying to tell you external work done by the force. What it is, I'm trying to explain that. Now observe. here, because of this load, there is a deflection. Beam gets deflected like this. So at the center, it is maximum. This is delta. I will call this as delta or small triangle like this. In some textbooks, they use this one, or we can use delta like this. I will use delta in this fashion only, like this only I'm going to use. Now, external work done. You can see this. External work done. Okay, this part you look at here now. Force into distance. Force into displacement is work done. So it is WC into delta. Force into displacement. This is external, okay, work done by the force equal to, this is a very simple mechanics. It is work done is force into displacement. So this is how you need to understand. Okay, going back to internal work done means what? Observe this. I have to equate them. I'll get it. Very simple it is. I'll get that one. I need to equate it. Now what I should do? I know that it is WC into delta, force into displacement. It is shown in a triangular fashion. I'll show you that one. Just observe this. Another 1 or 2 minutes. I'll stop it. Because I can just complete it in 2 minutes now. That simple problem it is. Observe this. See, this is the problem here. WC, I want to find out the collapse load. I have drawn the bending moment diagram. It is WL by 4. Central point load is WL by 4. Since it is going to become collapse load, it is WC into L by 4. You know that a central point load formula is WL by 4. So here WC into L by 4. Now what has happened here is, you can see as you start increasing W value till it reaches WC, what happens is one plastic hinge is formed at the center. And the deformed new shape, a new position of the beam will be like this. When it is about to collapse, when the beam is about to collapse, the shape is, you can see this bottom lines, you can see the shape will be like this. Only one plastic hinge is formed at the center. Why only one in this case is, bending moment is maximum at the center, it is 0. So at 0, at the supports, there is no question of formation of any plastic hinge. I already told you that plastic hinge forms wherever the bending moment is maximum. Once plastic hinge is formed there, next plastic hinge is near the support, if at all some moment is there at the, so in case of fixed beam, that will happen. Here only one plastic hinge is formed. Here I'll write it as MP. One dark circle is shown here. Since it is exactly at the center, no, it is L by 2, L by 2 here. Both, let us say, angles are theta. Okay, it is rotated by theta this side, theta this side. External work done is equal to, you can say, external work done is equal to force into displacement, WC into delta. What is internal work done? Internal work done is energy absorbed by the plastic hinge. So how to understand this one? That is moment due to plastic hinge into rotation. So whenever you want to find out the work done by moment, work done by the force is force into displacement. What is the work done by moment? How do you find it? Work done by the moment is equal to, it is moment into how much the body it has rotated. So the rotation is theta. So work done by a moment is m into theta, moment into a rotation. Here it is force into displacement. Here the work done, external work done is, it is moment into rotation, because what is the work done by the moment? It rotates the body. To what extent it rotates? It rotates the body by an extent equal to theta. So moment into rotation is work done by the moment. Force into displacement is work done by the force. That concept is used here. So moment into rotation. So plastic moment into rotation. You can look at this one here. External work done is equal to internal work done is the formula. External work done is WC into delta, force into displacement. Plastic moment has formed here at the center. Here the plastic moment is formed. This is the moment into rotation. So rotation, if you see the properties of the triangle here, this angle, external angle is nothing but sum of these two angles. So this angle is theta plus theta. If this is theta 1 and theta 2, this would have been theta 1 plus theta 2. So the energy absorbed or the work done by the plastic hinge is plastic moment into rotation, which is theta plus theta. That is what I have done as, see this, MP into theta plus theta is 2 theta. I have just equated external work done, force into displacement, equal to internal work done, moment into rotation. Moment into rotation. So MP into theta plus theta is 2 theta. So MP 2 theta. Now I have replaced delta with what here, this side we can see, this side. Tan theta is equal to what? Delta by L by 2. I'll go slow here. Tan theta, define tan theta from this triangle. Opposite side by adjacent. Delta by L by 2 is tan theta. Since theta will be very small, directly I can use theta itself. I don't have to use tan theta. I can say simply theta because theta is very small. If it is in radians, if you see tan theta, for example, you try to find out, say tan 1 or tan 0.5 in radians, it will be same as theta itself. So here, therefore, theta is equal to delta by L by 2. Therefore, delta is what? Theta into L by 2. So WC into delta, I have substituted this part, theta into L by 2. Okay. How it is, again, you observe tan theta is equal to delta by L by 2. I don't want to use tan theta. I'll simply use theta because the value is very small. So it is simply delta by L by 2. Or delta is equal to theta into L by 2. That is what I have written here. See this. This one is delta. WC into theta L by 2 is delta MP. So from this one, you separate WC, you keep WC on one side, remaining on the other side. That is the end of the solution. Okay. Here you simplify this one. Theta is getting cancelled here. So 4 MP by L. WC is equal to 2 comes this side. 4 MP divided by L comes this side. So theta and theta are getting cancelled. So let us stop this class now. I'll just go to next page and I'll just show you that formula. In the tomorrow's class, I will explain one more problem related to this fixed beams. Then I'll start the new, this one. Just see this one and see. Therefore, WC is equal to 4 MP by L. This is the end of the solution. So in case of simply supported beam with a central point load, collapse load is equal to 4 MP by L. Next problem is actually fixed. Next class I will continue this. This is fixed beam with central point load. What is the collapse load? There are 3 hinges now, plastic hinges. Anyway, I'll stop here. So finally, the formula is what? For simply supported beam with central point load, collapse load is 4 MP by L. This is what you are supposed to prove for 4 marks. 4 or 5 marks are there for this. They'll give both this simply supported beam with central point load, fixed beam with central point load. Both will be given for 5 marks or 6 marks. In both the cases, you should find WC value. Okay, so I'll stop it.